very warm welcome to the Canada News with your host Gurdwara. Now let's take a look at the headlines. Canada has crossed the third wave of coronavirus, said Dr. Theresa, Canada's Chief Medical Officer. Canadian Procurement Minister Anita Anand briefs on corona vaccine supply in Canada. President Doug Ford remarks have been condemned by the President of two Ontario Teachers Union. Now news in detail. Dr. Theresa, Canada's Chief Medical Officer, said Canada has crossed the third wave of coronaviruses. She said 20% fewer cases are now being recorded during the peak in April. The number of people recovering from this disease has also increased and the number of patients admitted to the ICU has also decreased, she said.
We're seeing hopeful signs that we've passed the peak of the third wave. The latest 7-day moving average of daily case counts is more than 20% lower than the peak in April, dropping to less than 7,000 cases daily for the first time since early April. We're also beginning to see reductions in the number of people experiencing severe and critical illness, with less than 4,000 people with COVID-19 being treated in our hospitals each day, including less than 1,400 in intensive care, and an average of 48 deaths being reported daily. This is important progress, but the numbers are still too high. We must drive infection rates down much lower while getting our vaccine rates as high as possible. To date, over 17 million COVID-19 vaccine doses have been administered across Canada. This is great news and improving every day. But we can't let go of the public health measures and individual precautions that are our essential safety rope to prevent another resurgence on this tricky path. As our modeling shows, by maintaining control measures until at least 75% of eligible adults have received a first dose of a COVID-19 vaccine and at least 20% of them have had their second dose, we would drive infection rates low enough and raise vaccine protection high enough to allow for lifting of restrictions without overwhelming health systems. But one dose of a two-dose vaccine series is not enough to maximize protection. We need to aim for at least 75% of everyone who is eligible for vaccination getting fully vaccinated.
Canadian Procurement Minister Anita Anand briefs on coronavirus vaccine supply in Canada. She said more than 20 million doses of the COVID-19 vaccine arrived in Canada yesterday. It's one of the G20 countries in terms of vaccines, she said. Anita Anand said 42% of the Canadians have received the first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine.
Today, I will provide an update on vaccine deliveries into Canada and milestones that we have reached. As of yesterday, more than 20 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines have arrived into this country. Canada is currently in the top G20 countries across a number of metrics, including total doses administered per capita, percentage of population that has received at least one dose, and average daily vaccination rates. In particular, 42% of all Canadians have had at least one dose of vaccine, and more than half of all Canadians who are adults have received at least one dose. In terms of individual suppliers, Pfizer is delivering 2 million doses per week this month and will deliver 2.4 million doses each week in June, constituting 5 deliveries in June alone. 42% de tous les Canadiens ont reçu au moins une dose et plus de la moitié des adultes canadiens ont reçu au moins une dose. Pfizer livre 2 millions de doses par semaine ce mois-ci et livrera 2,4 millions de doses supplémentaires par semaine en juin. In fact, due to the upcoming Victoria Day holiday, Pfizer has agreed to deliver doses earlier by moving up a significant portion of the deliveries scheduled for the week of May 24th. So, next week, Canada will receive a total of 3.4 million Pfizer doses, 2 million arriving as scheduled early in the week, and 1.4 million doses arriving on Thursday and Friday ahead of the holiday weekend. The balance of the scheduled doses for the week of May 24th, approximately 600,000, will arrive shortly after the holiday Monday. Combined with the upcoming delivery of 1.1 million Moderna doses next week, Canada will be receiving 4.5 million doses in total next week. To repeat, 4.5 million doses of Pfizer and Moderna are arriving to Canada next week. We are continuing negotiations with our suppliers to accelerate deliveries so that the provinces and territories can get vaccines into the arms of Canadians as rapidly as possible.
President Doug Ford's remarks have been condemned by the presidents of two Ontario teachers' union. In a statement, Ford alleged that schools were being closed for in-person learning because of Labour leaders. The remarks were made by Ford after it was announced that the province was extended stay-at-home orders for 2 weeks. Ford also said the school's conditions were a source of concern to many parents. On one hand, some doctors say they want to open schools, and on the other hand, we have the teachers' union that we cannot do that at the same moment. They say we need public health doctors, teachers, and labor partners to choose a better path. Ford also said he wants doctors and unions to sit down and consider the issue and make a decision. We also need public opinion for this, and we do not have it at the moment. For now, we have to focus on the virtual learning. Hamilton police have laid 22 charges after a pair of protests were held in the city. Police say 8 individuals were charged at a hugs over mass protest in the area of Hamilton City Hall, which drew approximately 20 protesters, while 12 people were charged at a pro-Palestine event that drew nearly 1,000 individuals. All the charges were related to violations under the Reopening Ontario Act. At both events, the number of attendees exceeded the number permitted for an outdoor gathering, police said in a statement. Due to the large crowd present at the pro-Palestine event, police will continue to review the incident in the coming days and may lay further charges. Ontario's COVID-19 vaccine effort shifted into higher gear on the weekend, administering its even millionth dose as it prepared to accelerate immunization efforts even further in the coming week. Premier Doug Ford, meanwhile, offered hope that the province summer camps would be given to green light to operate this season. Through without providing any details, the more people can come out to get vaccinated, the quicker we can open up. And we are going to open up very soon, said Ford. And I have to say one thing about the summer camps. July 3 is usually the time they open, and they are opening up this year. A spokesperson from this office later said details would be revealed before the provisional lifts its current stay-at-home order, which was recently extended to June 2 in a bid to help combat the pandemic third wave. The Ontario Camps Association said it was thrilled by the Premier's announcement. 3 people have been injured, including 2 children, following a single vehicle collision in Vigan. Police say around noon they received calls about a car going off the road on Athabasca Drive, just off Dauphin Street, north of Tustin Road, and struck 3 people. 2 children, a 4-year-old boy and 11-year-old girl, were taken to hospital in critical condition. A third person, an adult male, suffered minor injuries. Police say a 16-year-old driver from Richmond Hill has been taken into custody and is facing dangerous driving charges. However, further charges may be laid depending on what the investigation uncovers. Nicole points out the crash happened in an area where the speed limit was 40 km an hour. So officer will be looking at the whether speed was factor in the collision. Alberta Health confirmed 1,140 new COVID-19 cases and 3 more deaths from the disease. The deaths were a man in his 80s in the Calgary zone was Cumbertidis and 2 men in their 70s in the Edmonton zone, one with Cumbertidis and with other one with no known comorbidities. The province said 647 people were in the hospital as of Sunday, with 186 of them in the intensive care, which was 8 more than the previous day and a record high in Alberta since the pandemic began. Alberta had 22,280 total active cases, 1,94,538 recoveries, and 2,143 people have died as a result of COVID virus. Since the start of the pandemic, the Calgary zone has 10,515 active cases, the Edmonton zone has 5,035, the North zone has 3,309, the Central zone has 2,291 and the South zone has 1,101. There are 29 cases in unknown zones. The new cases came from 11,858 tests and the provisional positivity rate was 9.6% according to the Alberta Health. Ontario reported 2,199 new COVID-19 cases. The province also says 30 more people have died from the virus. The data is based on 33,142 tests administered over the past 24 hours. There were 1,292 COVID-19 patients in the Ontario hospital as one of this morning, a decline of 254 from the day before. The province says 714 of those patients were in the intensive care and 509 were on ventilators. The province vaccination drive also appeared to be shifting into the higher gear, with Health Minister Christine Elliott saying more than 139,000 shots were administered for a total number of more than 7 million since the immunization effort got underway. Ontario is set to expand vaccine eligibility to residents over 30s this week and hopes to allow all adults to register for their shots by the end of this month. Tensions can high at competing demonstrations over the Israeli-Palestinian conflict in both Montreal and Toronto this weekend. Police in Montreal confirmed they responded to a conflict that erupted between protesters and counter-protesters at a rally in support of Israel near the city's downtown. People were heard shouting "Free Palestine" as they ran from the police, who fired chemical irritants into the air. The pro-Israel rally comes one day after thousands attended a pro-Palestine march in Montreal to demand an end of Israeli airstrikes over the Gaza Strip. Meanwhile, police in Toronto say they have led charges in connection with a pro-Palestine demonstration that drew more than 5,000 people to Northern Phillips Square outside City Hall. Prime Minister tweeted, "Everyone has a right to assemble peacefully and express themselves freely in Canada, but we cannot and will not tolerate anti-Semitism, Islamophobia or hate of any kind." Ontario Premier Doug Ford called on police to investigate any acts of anti-Semitism which he says have no place in the province. So that's all we have in this edition. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more updated news.